Salam and hello everyone. I hope that you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I am going to be talking about a handful of teas that I believe every woman should have in their apothecary, in their cabinet, in their house or apartment. These teas or these herbs you can grow on your own, or you can buy them from specialists or from, herbal stores, if you will. My breakdown of this particular video is I'm going to talk about the teas, but I'm also going to talk about making use of these teas in the best way possible so that they don't go to waste. I'm also going to talk about how you should approach trying these different herbal teas. And I'm also going to talk about when you should not be drinking herbal teas. There are different scenarios and different, I would say, health indications that would warrant you to hold off on trying certain teas until you're, cleared and all better. And I feel that that's the best thing I could provide you with as well as a healthcare provider, is to let you know that not all herbal teas are created equal, and not everybody can take herbal teas at the rate that everybody else does. So those are some of the things that I'm going to dive in. So as a pharmacist, part of my job is to understand pharmaceutical products and how they interact with the human body. At the same time, I have also taken an interest several years ago into herbal medicine and how they can be of benefit to us as humans. Herbal medicine provides several beneficial properties, including they are rich in antioxidants, they promote relaxation and sleep, they have anti-inflammatory properties, they aid in digestion, they also support our immune system and help us with things like weight management and, things of the nature of like common colds or headaches and things of that nature. They can help prevent as well as treat ailments. I know some of you watching do not like to take pharmaceutical medication, and that is a personal choice. I also know that some of you have tried herbal teas and herbal remedies, and you may have felt like you didn't give it enough time, or maybe they didn't work for you. But let me dive in and let me explain why I think every woman should have these 5 particular herbal teas in their apothecary. So the first tea on the list is red raspberry leaf tea, and I'm going to grab it from behind me. Red raspberry leaf tea supports reproductive health, helps with menstrual cramps, and strengthens the uterus. It's often recommended during pregnancy for general women's health. When I was pregnant, I did not drink red raspberry leaf tea, but experts in the field of herbal medicine do suggest women try it. I would say if you haven't tried it, to talk first closely with your pharmacist, your nurse practitioner, or your physician, and see if this is something that might be good for you. I like to mix it with red clover or peppermint. It's a pretty, I would say most of the teas that I've had or that I will mention today all have an earthy taste. There's nothing particular about the taste except that it can be strong if you brewed it for over maybe 5 to 10 minutes. But otherwise, this is one of the top teas that you should try. And in one of my videos on women and periods and painful menstrual cramps, I suggested looking into red raspberry leaf tea to help you during the time of the month if you do experience PMS and heavy periods and painful period cramps. Some women like to rely on ibuprofen or Tylenol to help them with their ailments, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that as long as you're dosing yourself correctly. But red raspberry leaf tea is something that you should consider getting into your home apothecary. The next herb on the list is peppermint. Peppermint aids in digestion. It helps with menstrual discomfort and also helps with bloating. It can help also alleviate headaches. I usually label all of my herbs with the expiration date because I do buy them, or I do source them from different companies like Star West Botanicals, EGO. I haven't tried many others, but I am looking into sourcing from other herbal specialists. Peppermint is just as is. It smells like peppermint. It's pretty good to brew. I will try and maybe in another video give you the specific amounts of what I like to brew. Because these are loose leaf, you're going to use a specific teapot in which you will strain the leaves before you drink your tea. This is it is mint. It's mint, it's great, it smells great. I think these alone can be a great tea to kickstart your morning. And it also, like I said, it's a refreshing tea. It helps freshen up the breath as well. So this is something you might want to consider putting into your apothecary. I like peppermint a lot, and I would recommend you consider trying peppermint as well. And one of the things I like to mention too is I keep them in airtight containers so they do not reach its expiration date any sooner. These particular jars I got offline, some of them from the dollar store. As long as they are washed and clean. I don't sterilize. I don't think I have sterilized any of my jars, which, nope, I take that back. I've sterilized my ball jars. Nope, I've sterilized all of my jars. I take that back. I've washed and sterilized all of my jars just to keep the herbs as fresh as possible for as long as possible. So, peppermint. Third herb on the list is chamomile. Chamomile is a very nice and simple flower herb. It is, I can't really describe the smell. Almost like licorice, but not quite. This expires next year, but I've had this for a while. And that's one of the things is if you don't grow your own herbs and it doesn't say when it was packaged, you will not be able to tell how long it's been in the company. And that's one of the tricky things. That's why I know a lot of people like to grow and dry their own herbs, because they know the start and end date. They know when they harvested the herbs, the flowers, the roots, the plants, and they know how long they will last inside their own apothecary. So I like chamomile, and chamomile promotes relaxation and sleep. It reduces menstrual pain and has anti-inflammatory properties. It is ideal for unwinding before bed and calming anxiety. So many of you may have tried chamomile tea, the packaged tea, and may have found great benefit from it. I like to keep this on hand because I could mix and match chamomile with other teas that might be able to give a compounding effect, so an additive effect, maybe for anxiety and for bloating or for headache. It's something that you should also consider keeping in your home apothecary. The next herb on the list is nettle. For some reason, I really like this one. Here you go. Nettle leaf. Nettle is high in vitamins and minerals like iron, calcium, magnesium. It supports overall health and also alleviates PMS symptoms. It helps to boost energy and can be a nutritional powerhouse. I really enjoy nettle. I really like this tea. I like this herb. I drink it plain. Sometimes I might mix it with honey. But I find that as I get older, I like to drink my loose leaf teas just for enjoyment and for health benefits. And as a side note, I am going to talk about tea specifically for women over 40 and hormone balance, so I'm working on that video. But in general, for women, nettle leaf tea or nettle leaf is a good thing to have in your apothecary. And last but not least on the list is lavender. So I have lavender hiding in the back. So if you've never smelled lavender before, it is a great smelling herb. I actually use this herb in lotions and hand creams. Many of you may be familiar with lavender because it aids in rest and relaxation. Lavender does reduce stress and anxiety. It promotes restful sleep and has anti-inflammatory properties. So yeah, it's perfect for relaxation and stress relief. Like I said before, this particular herb, I've mainly used it in soaps, hand creams, body washes or hand washes, candles. This, if you like to make candles, you might consider using lavender in your candle making process. I think this is something great to have on hand because of the stress relieving properties. And as women, a lot of us go through a lot of stress for whatever the reason is. No doubt we're under a lot of stress. So I've had this for a while, and if you buy your leaves, or I'm sorry, if you buy your herbs and you source them from other companies, make sure you always put the expiration date on your jars and containers so that you know how long it's good for from the commercial supplier. So that wraps up the 5 basic herbs that I think every woman should have in their apothecary. And like I said before, I was a little disorganized in keeping up with my apothecary, and I've just started to organize it. I put together this rack behind me a few days ago. It took a while to try to figure out what the structure of this thing was going on. I was sweating and burning a lot of calories trying to put it together, but the organization helps because I know where my herbs are and I know, when to use it, when not to use it, or, it might take time for you to understand what the herbs are used for and what their specific benefits are. Herbs can be used for more than just teas. As I mentioned before, I have created hand creams with, for example, calendula. Calendula has healing properties, so I have created salves and creams for the hand. They can also be used. I've created glycerite tinctures and extracts using astragalus. That's another herb that I've created in the past, as well as echinacea and elderberry. I can show you a little clip of those glycerite tinctures and extracts. Sometimes tinctures do, I would say most of the time, tinctures are made using alcohol, a high percentage of alcohol. And because I cannot use that, I decided to use glycerite, which has been good for me, beneficial for me. So don't think that you are limited in creating your tinctures and extracts. Just look for vegetable glycerin that is USP food grade if you are going to do that. Now, it's also important that I discuss who should be cautious of using herbs or who should not use herbs. So as I mentioned before, if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, for example, it's going to be important for you to first reach out to your nurse practitioner or your physician to talk to you about what is going to be beneficial for you. You don't want to go into premature labor or have uterine cramps because you are trying the wrong herb. Now, I know I mentioned red raspberry leaf tea earlier in the video, and that's because it strengthens the uterus. But please, please, please talk to your physician, your nurse practitioner, or your pharmacist before trying any of these herbs I mentioned again. Next on the list are people with allergies. You may not know if you have an allergy to the teas. Some of these teas cause allergic reactions. Now, for some people, you may not know if you have an allergic reaction, but look at your history. If you have a high percentage of allergies to pollen, to ragweed, if you have a high percentage of allergies to the outdoors, the likelihood of you having allergies to herbs could be high, but it's going to take some investigation and some research on your part. Do you drink teas? Have you drunk teas before? Have you noticed anything in terms of swelling, inflammation, itchy throat? These are things to look out for if you are not a tea drinker or herbal tea drinker and would like to try herbal teas. Next, I would caution are people with cardiovascular issues, because the drinking of the tea may increase the risk of certain ailments for people with these issues. If you have a cardiovascular issue, the chances of you taking a particular medication are likely to be high. Along with drug-drug interactions, drug-food interactions, there's also drug-herb interactions, and that's something you want to be very careful about when making the decision to try an herbal tea. Now, you may have heard that it might help with inflammation, it might help with, your antioxidants, but it's going to be important first to solve whatever matter or whatever health ailment you're going through first, and then once you get better, you can try the herbal recommendations to see if it can help you along with the process of getting healthier. Another group of people who need to be careful before trying any type of herbs are people with kidney disease. Some herbal teas can be toxic to the kidneys, especially in large amounts. And they can also increase kidney stones or impact blood pressure and potassium levels. So even though there are so many benefits to herbal teas, you still want to be careful if you have any underlying conditions. And that's something I always stress on this channel. Work on the initial ailments you are having with the recommendations of your healthcare providers. What have they told you? Follow that to a T. And once you get better, then you might be able to implement several things down the line. And I talk about this. I talk about implementing strength training once you've been cleared of any other underlying health conditions. Now I talk about drinking herbal teas. Once again, try these for health benefits. But once you've been cleared of whatever is going on if you have any health predicaments or ailments or illnesses, make sure you clear up what it is that you have, or try your best to become healthier and become better. And then you start to pile on, or not pile on, but add on certain things that are going to be beneficial and additive to your healthcare journey. Also important for me is to tell you that these herbs I have behind me, they're a small amount and they're growing, and they are loose leaf. They are straight out of packaging that you won't see in your regular, tea bag. And that's something I wanted to stress too. Not everybody likes tea bags, and I can agree, you know, they may not have the same taste. You don't know how long they've been sitting in the tea bag. Some of these, I don't know how long they've been sitting in the bag that I brought, even though they have an expiration date and the packaging date. I don't know how long the herbs have been dried. But one thing I can recommend you do is don't rush out to buy packaged, big old packages of loose leaf herbs. Try a small amount of your herbal teas. So these are the teas that are sold within your grocery store that are come in 10, 20 a box. Try it first and see how it agrees with your system and your stomach, and if you can handle it. Some of you might try a tea and might decide, oh, this is awful. I cannot stand the taste. No matter how much honey I add to it, it just doesn't taste good. And so that way you have tried the tea and you have decided it's not for you, and then you can move on and try another tea. You might want to try a mixed package of tea. You know, some manufacturers of tea, they add in different types of flavors so that you can get a, you know, a good, how do I say, so that you can get a good mixture of the different types of teas that are out on the market. So you might try a detox tea that has lemon and ginger. You might try a peppermint tea. You might try a green tea or a black tea. You might try cinnamon tea. There are so many different types of tea that are, you know, packaged with great herbs, great roots, great flowers that you just might want to give it a try. And again, like I said, these things have very good health benefits, and so you don't want to miss out on trying these things, especially if you don't have any allergies or contraindications to trying herbal teas. For a future video, I'm also working on particular herbal teas or herbs that are very beneficial for women over 40 who are perimenopausal and need help in balancing their hormones. I have talked about estrogen, progesterone, testosterone on my channel, especially with regard to the fluctuation of these hormones that many of us are experiencing. And I've talked about how hormone replacement therapy or menopausal hormone therapy may not always be an option for some women. So I know that a lot of women have been resorting to natural remedies, herbs, food to help alleviate their symptoms. And that's something I also wanted to talk about and dive into. So I'm working on that future video. I hope that the information in this video has been beneficial. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.